You from the county? You don't need her
Hey, Bill,
Yeah,
do you have any actual figures on what the pre-pandemic contribution of Beaver Hollow was to the bed tax and to, did you have some dollar?
I inquired.
We are live now, Judge.
Okay,
Okay.
well, we can do this later.
Well, I can just, without saying anything, I can respond. Nobody sees those figures exactly that are attached to a business, either the sales tax or the bed tax, I believe. I don't think you can get that broken out.
Okay,
They're estimates.
let's try to figure out if we can, the best we can from prior years where we are.
Scott Gardner would be our man on that, I think.
We live,
Okay.
Jennifer?
Yes,
We're live, okay.
We're live.
live.
All right, our next action item is a request for sales tax extension for JC Equipment, formerly the Broder Machine operation. Could you help us with that, Jim? Explain what they're
Yeah,
asking for.
I just pulled up on the screen the IDC equipment to as an adaptive reuse pilot for the former Broder Machine building in South Warsaw that had been vacant and deteriorating for the last 20 years. When we is to extend it to the end of June 2021.
Yeah, but so far, they probably haven't used the exemption that was originally afforded, right?
They have not used any of it, no. And in the meantime, they've been, if anybody's driven by there, they're already starting to clear the parcel, and they're doing some work down there. So the sooner we can get the, extended, the better off they're going to be. So.
Jim, where is it, just for the non-Morsinians? How would I get there if I'm coming off Route 28?
Yeah, go south on Route 19. You go by the DOT garage in South Warsaw, the DOT place, and it's the very next building on the left-hand side.
And that was originally an IDA project, wasn't it? Way back in the day?
Not during my days here in Miami
Oh,
County.
no, I'm talking, I would estimate that would have been about 35 or 6 years ago. More than that, probably about 40 some years, but it used to be a machine outfit, a machine.
Yeah, it was Ness, I believe, was the name of it, Ness Machining Company.
I think there was a predecessor to that. I was involved in it back in those days.
Oh, interesting.
If it's on the left, if you're going south.
That's correct.
And, okay. And the building looks kind of grown in now, right?
Exactly. There's trees growing out of the roof, actually.
Okay.
That's true.
All right, do I hear a motion to grant the sales tax extension for an additional year?
Move that, Jim.
Do I have a second?
A second.
I'll second it.
All right.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah.
Is there any opposition to the motion? Hearing none, it is approved. Can you tell us about the next action item, Jim, the sales tax extension for Calamar?
Yeah, we received this actually back in April. We forgot to get it on the agenda for our last meeting. But essentially, according to this letter that they had sent us dated April 7th, 2020, they want an additional 1-year exemption for the Calamar project. Primarily, there's a number of vendors who are unable to start their work until 2020, and then the COVID situation hit. And so there's still some, I guess I would call them punch list types of things that they would like to take advantage of the sales tax exemption for another year. So this is the request that they're asking of the board.
All right, any questions or discussion? The letter, I think, outlines pretty much what they have to finish. Do you know how full they are at the moment? I took a ride up through there a couple of weeks ago. They still have, what occupancy rate, do you know?
I think they just have a few apartments vacant, even with the COVID and everything.
So.
Yeah, they were up way over 80% a couple before the COVID thing happened.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's the one bedroom apartments that they have a few of. They did at that point. Yeah.
Well, it's been, except for the driveway, it's been quite a success, right, Becky?
Yeah, the people love it there, and I was calling them on a weekly basis just because of the age group that's there. That I was afraid that they were very susceptible to the COVID, and they were all fine. They were all watching out for each other but keeping distance and everything. And yeah, they were fine. So and everyone loves it. I know one of our supervisors, Sandy King's parents are there, and she says that they absolutely love it there too.
Okay.
There
Do I
has
hear a
been,
motion? Go ahead.
there are several, I think, people on the board that are aware that there was long delays in getting vendors paid by Calamar.
Yep.
But some of those have been taken care of and have been satisfied. I don't know if there's still any outstanding or not, but I know it forced the vendors to get counsel in order to get their money.
As I always say, lawyers have to eat too. So anyway, do I hear a motion to grant the requested sales tax extension for Calamar?
I'll move that.
I could. Okay, I'll second that.
All right. Is there any opposition to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is passed or approved. And finally, Jim, I'll let you explain a little bit about our rather detailed infectious disease response plan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Norb Foos, who many of you know, after he retired from Morton, has gone into the consulting business. He reached out and asked if he could work on a infectious disease response plan for us based on COVID. So I think you folks have this, and I'm not going to go through it page by page. But essentially, it's kind of a walkthrough of things that we should be doing here in the office. One of those things, there's, we are already set up and are doing this. We bought a thermometer. We have visitor sign-in sheets. When a visitor comes, we have masks that we either provide the people if they don't have them. Our staff has masks, and we actually check the temperature of our visitors coming in. Our first guinea pig was Becky Ryan when she came in here last week to sign some documents. I can't report her numbers because of HIPAA, but she was allowed to come in.
Jim, I was up there at 5 o'clock trying to see how many of you folks were still at work one day this week, and I used the thermometer. And I've never, I was wondering, I thought I was hypothermic. It was like I was 2 degrees below what I've ever been. So
Yeah.
I gotta check the batteries.
All right, we will check the batteries. But overall, this is a very comprehensive plan. I know that Kevin has had a chance to look at it as well. And what he has recommended to us is that we were thinking about adding this as a possibly an addition to our employee handbook. Kevin thinks we should keep it as a standalone policy. I agree with that because the next infectious disease might have to have its own plan as well. So overall, I think we have a really good plan for disinfecting, how to make sure not only our staff are safe here, but our visitors as well. So I would ask that the board consider approving this as our infectious disease response plan. And then we have it on record that we are in compliance with all the good stuff the state's looking at.
And that you're satisfied, I haven't gone through it, you're satisfied that, or Norb is satisfied anyway, that the state is happy with it.
Yeah, it includes a lot of the CDC guidelines, OSHA guidelines. So a lot of the federal guidelines and state are reflected in the plan itself. But you can even see that it gets detailed in section 4.1 that even handshaking and other casual contact is not allowed. So we'll have to get our elbows up in the air when we see each other again.
All right, any further discussion? If not, I'll.
Chairman,
Yes.
would you suggest maybe you and the vice chairman or a couple of other people read this, go through this before we move on it? I don't want to throw a monkey wrench in this thing, but just a question or a comment.
Well, I should say I didn't really read it. I just flipped through it. I kind of ran out of steam. It's so detailed. Have you actually had a paper copy of it yet, Joe?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I didn't
Well,
get
if you
much
want, we
information in its last
We can put
package.
it off to the, I just don't feel, well, I just don't feel comfortable. If anybody is uncomfortable with it in doing it, we certainly want to give everybody an opportunity to go through it. If you think it's something unreasonable in there, but
We did drop something in the mail. We had expected it would have been delivered to Joe by today. So
well, is there any reason we can't just do this next month?
nope.
All right. Can we agree then? We'll just put this on the agenda. We'll table it, put it on the agenda for next month, so everybody has a chance to study it.
Want to pass it?
Okay. All right, Jim, could you give us your report?
Sure. Here, I pulled it up on the screen here. JC Equipment, we just talked about, they have signed a project agreement and the lease documents are being prepared by council. The Duke Energy project, I had a discussion with the program developer or the project developer a little this week earlier. One of the things that's slowing their progress in starting the project is they are trying to participate in NYSERDA's auction for new solar that comes online. They only have them every so often, and they have delayed announcing the recent auction. So their plan is to have this solar project be proposed for that auction. So they're waiting to hear from that. The Delaware River Solar Project, we're still waiting on the community host agreements and the property tax ID numbers. We still don't have those. A new one that's popped up on the radar, well, actually it's an old one, but it's starting to show up on our radar now, is Silver Lake Solar. You can see that it's a 24.99 megawatt project being proposed for the town of Castile. That's on the farmland of Walt Farina. The project did receive a neg deck for the seeker from the town. Ironically, they have not reached out to the IDA for any assistance on this yet. So, but we assume that they're going to come in our direction before too long. The Dream Lake Campground expansion pilot is also currently pending on local permitting and the seeker process. Planning boards during COVID have not really been meeting, so they have they just started recently, starting to meet now. So I think we'll see some movement on that as well. The sale of the land that's on Steel Avenue and Arcade for the hotel. The company does have in their hands the land sale agreement. They have not yet signed it, but they did provide us with a deposit check for the land that's being held by Hurwitz and Fine as the escrow agent for the IDA. Banks are really hesitant to commit to financing new hospitality projects currently, according to them, given the COVID situation and the impact the hospitality industry has had because of this pandemic. But they're still confident they're going to be able to get their financing together. And they assured me that they still remain very committed to the Arcade Hotel project. A company from Perry that I've been working with is starting to pick up pace a little bit. It's a company called TTI Light Industrial LLC. They're located right on Main Street in Perry. They're kind of a precision industrial company that you can see the services that they provide. They also do some contract manufacturing. They primarily focus on the food and beverage industry. The owner of the TTI company is Jim Marjak. I can't remember how you say his name. Same guy that owns the Perry racetrack. What is it?
Majak.
Majak. Yeah, they own the Perry racetrack, and they are planning to build a manufacturing facility on the parcel at the racetrack. Ironically, you would think that the Perry racetrack would not be zoned for that type of use, but I have investigated it, and it is zoned for the type of industrial use that they're proposing. So they're working on putting their numbers together for us, and I anticipate we'll have some additional meetings coming up here shortly. As many of you know, there have been tons of programs out there about the CARES Act. The EDA had received a substantial amount of money, actually $1.5 billion that was set aside for COVID and disaster relief types of projects. I've had many discussions with Scott Gardner and Eric Zuches about one of our largest the impacts of COVID on recreation tourism and hospitality businesses in our county. They clearly are one of the hardest hit and are going to be the longest to recover. So I sit on I'm actually the chair of the Economic Development Advisory Committee for the Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council. I pushed on the agenda very hard to get an EDA application, pre-application started through the Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning. That would be a 9-county regional application that would specifically provide technical assistance or diversification help and helping this industry structure kind of reinvent themselves. And that would be tied with our marketing campaign. So we have a pre-application meeting next week with EDA to run it up the flagpole and see if it's going to fly. So I'll keep you posted on that, but been spending a lot of time trying to get something like this off the ground to help that particular industry sector. Speaking of, as long as we're talking about the industry sector, we were also very worried about Hidden Valley Animal Adventure in Varysburg, but they have found a way to reinvent themselves. They are now allowing visitors to drive their private vehicles through the animal park. I talked with Barb Dominici just this past, actually it was yesterday, and she told me over the weekend they had 3,500 visitors come through the park. On a typical day a year ago for the same time period, they had 700 visitors. She said they've been getting really overwhelmed. The restaurant, people can order directly from their phones to the restaurant, and then people stay in their cars and the meals are delivered with a golf cart out to the visitors' cars. She thinks there's an opportunity to grow that business as well. So she's really optimistic this new model is going to be the thing that they're going to stick with moving forward. So it's nice to see some of our business really trying to reinvent themselves, and that's what this grant is going to be helping other businesses do the same types of things. Quickly, under the Business Assistance Corporation, the Boxler loan that the board approved, council has sent the Boxler's attorneys all the documents for review, so they're in the hands of the borrower's counsel. Dream Lake, in addition to the pilot they're asking for, are also asking for a loan from us. Again, this is tied pending the local permitting, so that's pretty much on hold for now. The bank did share with us their supporting document, and so we're working hand in hand with what is now Community Bank on this project as well. Under the Business Center, I just want to quickly mention the Restart Wyoming loan program that we set up. We thought we'd get overwhelmed with applications. We only actually received 3 applications to date, totaling $28,000. So I don't, maybe just the interest or the need is not there, or maybe people think that borrowing is not the answer, but the loan fund is there. We recently made some changes to it and took out the SBA language that was in there that said if you applied for any of the SBA or disaster funds, you were not eligible for this loan program. We took that out, and we're expecting to pick up at least one more loan as a result of that. There's 2 small micro loans, 3 actually, that And we also worked on the Sands Restaurant, which is the Silver Lake family restaurant, who wants to do the catering business out of that building next door. Again, council has provided the borrower's counsel the documents. The bakery for Perry, the loan's been approved. Loan documents are in the borrower's attorney's hands as well. And then we recently funded and closed on a company called Datumworks located in Portageville. We did a loan for a CNC consulting business who the gentleman is a graduate of the fast track program, and we closed on that loan June 1st. In terms of entrepreneurship and small business assistance, we are proposing to do a business accelerator academy in the spring. So we are looking to have a program in place that will help newly started businesses get additional technical assistance and mentoring to take them from that startup phase to that next growth phase. Jennifer's been applying for applications for the program. She has so far received a $1,000 grant from KeyBank, and we're anticipating a decision from the Wyoming Foundation here shortly about another possible grant that will act as seed money. And then the fast track program, which we had to postpone in the spring, is scheduled to start on September 1st. Fingers crossed. That's my report.
Tim, could you send us all a copy of what we've just looked at on the screen? I don't think we got this, right? Yeah.
Did not. It will be part of the minutes, but I can send it ahead of time.
Thanks. All right, any questions or discussion? All right, Bill, do you have a report?
The Microtel opens officially next Wednesday, the 17th. And they had said it was going to be the 12th, which is tomorrow. But it turns out that with the pandemic, Wyndham is only turning on the switch on Wyndham-owned hotels. And Microtel is part of Wyndham. And they only do it on Wednesdays. There was also some issues with certificate of occupancy, and that's all straightened out. And right now, hot off the press, it will be next Wednesday, the day that Wyndham can throw the switch on reservations.
The signs are up that were put up yesterday.
Yeah, it really looked phenomenal. But I guess the only issue is the lighting in the parking lots has a little bit of a glow to it. So they need to maybe put some skirts on it to, aim it down more, so it's not visually bad for the neighbors. That's the only thing I've heard. I got that from Don Roberts. So anyhow, next Wednesday is their big day. Again, it's a soft opening. They don't make a big deal out of it. They'll do something in the fall to make a splash that it's open. The census, things are loosening up with the census too, where they're going to start to make more contact with people who have not been enumerated yet. One of the things they're looking to do, the supervisors know about this, but Travis Gordon, who's one of our reps, he's out of Erie County. They're looking to have census outings, and really the best place for them would be pavilions and parks, where there'd be a lot of social distancing available. They could set up tables and people come there, and then they could get help from census trained people on how to fill out the census. So that's Travis is getting all that information put together. The last one, and I noticed in the minutes that it said that Markwart's might be eligible for the next round of money. They did get the $2 million. I don't know if I said that the last time or it came right after the meeting ended, a few days afterwards, but the New York State funded Markwart's the maximum amount under 17B of the last PDR program, which was not doing with transitional dairies, was not doing dealing with just the growing of crops and marketing of crops. It had there was a whole new category the governor came up with, those affected by competition with internet, with trade issues, things that were more governmental. And I'm not sure, but they may be the first farm in the state that got money under the 17B program. That's it.
All right. Is there any other business to attend to? If not, our next meeting will be July 9th at 2:30. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is there anybody who opposes the motion? Hearing none, we are adjourned. All right, let's move then to the,
Mr. Chairman, this is
Yep,
Jim.
are you going to turn us off?
I'm going to turn you off for a little bit and then we'll turn you back on.
All right,
This will be the last month, hopefully, that we have to do this. This telephonic legislation was extended to July 6th, I believe, Kevin. So hopefully we'll meet face to face next time.